Hello there YouTube viewers, and welcome to another edition of Health Matters. Last week we looked at the foot and the problems that can occur with that. This week we're going to look at the ankle. But before I go on, I just want to point out that any problems that you get at all with the foot or the ankle will result in having a knock-on effect to the joints above it and ultimately the spine. Your body will do everything it can to keep you upright against gravity. And if you have a problem with your foot or ankle, it will cause you pain, and what happens then is you compensate for it, or rather your body and your brain compensates for it. So you develop a slight limp whilst the problem is getting fixed. Okay, and unfortunately when the problem gets fixed, your brain doesn't turn around and say, oh right, well we can go back to walking normally now, because it doesn't do that. What it does is just say, well, we managed before like it was, so we'll manage now. And what happens is then you learn to walk wrongly because you already have by compensated when you had that injury. So do watch out for that. In addition, let's look at some of the problems now with the ankle, and I'll tell you about some soft tissue damage in a moment. Now, the first thing that springs to mind with an ankle is puffy ankles, or as we term it in the professional, edema. Right? It just means fluid in the ankles. Now, this could be caused several ways. It can be caused by an injury, such as a sprain or even a break, or it can be caused by poor circulation. But whatever the reason, if you have puffy ankles, it can and will be helped by using the sepia technique that we spoke of 2 or 3 weeks ago. Because what happens is the sepia technique uses the control to clear the lymphatic system as opposed to manual lymphatic drainage. It's a clearance. So it's like unblocking a sink properly. Rather than just poking a stick down it. What happens is the lymphatic system uses muscles to pump it around, and if you've got poor circulation or you've been injured, you can't move as quickly. So the lymphatic system and all the lymph will pull down to the lowest joint, and that's the ankle. And it fills up the cavity within the ankle and presses on the structures that's there, restricting the movement. Hence the fact that if you've got puffy ankles, you can't bend your ankles as much. And if you rotate them, you'll see that the rotation is not good either. Okay, so that's one of the things that can be greatly helped by using the sepia technique, and that will reverse those, okay, and increase the circulation. In my book also, I go into little details. There's a specific drawing that inverts the leg, and that will help with a huge amounts of all leg problems, not just puffy ankles, particularly for those athletes who do a lot of training and those people that suffer with heavy leg syndrome, and we'll be coming on to those in a week or two's time. Now, let's go through injuries such as broken ankles or sprains. Okay, what happens then? Now, most professionals are actually always interested in the bone healing, and if the bone's healed, then they're happy and they send you off on your way. What they don't realise is that soft tissue does not heal itself in the same way that it was before it was broken. All right? When soft tissue is damaged, it tries to knit together as strong as it possibly can to stop it from injuring again, and it knits in this way, like that, in a mesh, rather like a darn in a sock, so that when you try and pull the fibres, they won't move. Whereas normal fibres are like this, and they stretch as you pull them. So you've now got restriction of movement in there, and of course if you restrict the movement of the joints that won't allow the joint to go, your joint isn't going to move, and that's going to cause problems with rubbing of the joint and things like arthritis. So you need to get to a sports therapist or a massage therapist or a physiotherapist who does hands-on massage to actually break down that scar tissue that is being laid down at the time of the injury. So don't wait too long, all right? Even 4 or 5 days, and this mesh is already laid down. So get to them as soon as you can. Let them do some work, even if it's just a little bit of ultrasound. Mainly massage is good because it breaks down the tissues from this into this, into this, into this. And that's where you want it, so that the tissue lies and will stretch back to its original shape, allowing you freedom of movement in the joints. Okay. There are other problems that happen in the calf and in the front of the shin, which we're working up to, because next week we'll be talking about the knee. So we're going to talk a little bit about things that can happen in the calf. You can get calf tears. The fibres, these fibres can snap and they'll break off and then start doing their own little bits here and there and make up. And these are called knots. Again, by proper stretching, by using things like massage therapists and massage people, they can actually break down those knots for you. You can stretch out properly and then invert your legs to get rid of the lymph that will pull and cause problems. It creates things like cramp. Even cramp can be got rid of by the sepia technique, okay? Because it clears the rubbish out of the system. All the toxins that are left, lactic acid that is produced as a result of those things, of exercise, if you don't stretch and put your feet up to drain it away, will go down. It has to, because it's gravitationally led. All right. Things like shin splints can occur because of poor posture, and that must be taken to one side and had a look by an expert. So somebody who knows how to look at you when you're running on a running machine or in the road or whatever, can look at how you're running, because that's the technique is wrong. It could be your arch, it could be your spine, it could be something, there's a problem. But there is a problem. Don't just treat the symptom, treat the cause. All right? Find the cause of the problem, because that's what's causing the shin splint. All right? No good sticking things in your shoes and having orthotics and all these sorts of things, because that weakens the arch and only does a temporary to treat the symptom rather than finding the cause. It's important to find the cause, as you'll find out when I start to do the spine. Well, next week we're going to be looking at the knee and the knee structure and the knee joint and things that can happen and go wrong with that. So please do join me next week. Keep trying and correct that posture as often as you can. I have to correct mine probably about 10 or 12 times a day, and I lecture on it. So, you know, there is hope for all of us, believe me, but just keep trying. It comes to you in the end. Till next week. Take care now. Bye-bye.